Hi there, my name is Megan Hargrave, and as an education coach and consultant, there is a theme, a reoccurring theme that I find myself addressing over and over again, and that's the idea of independence. And it's no doubt that this is a theme that comes up regardless of the school that I'm working with, regardless of the grade level that I'm supporting. And it's because independence is a goal of teaching, is a goal of education. We give students skills and strategies. We teach them skills and strategies as adults, as teachers, as parents, and then we want them to independently take those strategies and apply them or transfer them into different areas. That said, it is no easy thing to support students as independent learners. And that's because in schools, often students are very dependent on the teacher, very dependent on the adult. One of the ways that I have helped schools think about busting through this and supporting more independence is to really address what I refer to as a cycle of independence. When we think about learning, we think about school, we start by saying, well, students start by being dependent on an adult, by being dependent on a teacher to learn a new skill, to learn a new strategy, to learn something that is being presented. And after students are dependent on the teacher, we send them off to go be independent. We get really excited when this happens, regardless of the age of the learner. As parents and caregivers, maybe some of you have felt this before when you've got a student or a child who requires you to always zip their coat or tie their shoe. All of a sudden they can do it on their own and you get really excited. We have independence. But at the moment that that student, that child struggles, what often happens, especially in school, is that the student goes from being independent right back to being dependent. I'm not sure what to do next. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about blank. And so they come and they look for the adult in the room. And if the goal of education is independence, I would love for us to think about how we might break this cycle. Because if I have a learner whose independence is reliant on being independent or being dependent on an adult, I'm never going to be able to support them in being able to apply or transfer a skill with full independence. And so instead of having them come back to be dependent on the teacher, I'm going to push us to think about a middle ground. And could we break the cycle by pushing students to be interdependent? Can we teach our students to rely on the many silent teachers that we give them? This could be a checklist, a mentor text, a chart, a word wall. All sorts of documents are given to students every day that can be silent teachers. We can also teach them to be interdependent on peers, on partners. Sometimes they're in clubs in school or even table groups. But we can teach students to be interdependent on other teachers, silent or not so silent, that are in the room to help them skip the step of always having to come back to that dependence on the teacher themselves. So the more we can help students practice this cycle in their independent work time, the more that we will support them to be learners who are independent and are applying the taught skills, strategies, etc., on their own with a little bit of support along the way. I hope this helps. It's not always easy to support interdependence and independence. We really have to be mindful that when they come back to be dependent, how can I redirect the learner to be interdependent? If I can say, what charts do you have that could help? Is there a checklist? Is there something in your materials folder that will help you with that? Is there somebody else you can ask? Using those phrases to redirect students takes practice and takes time, but will be well worth it in the long run. I hope some of this is helpful to think through. I thank you for partnering together with me, together with your colleagues, together with teachers, together with each other to think about how we can better student learning. And one way that we can do this is to support more independence through the use of interdependence. Thanks so much.